Hey, what's up, Stringlings? Today we're going to be taking a look at this finished product from the BexGears 8-string kit. Let's check it out. So it's been a while since I actually got this finished. I wanted to play with it a little bit, but overall, if you'll recall, I did a quick breakdown on the parts and the assembly, and yeah, it turns out to have been actually a pretty good project. I haven't done a ton of modification. All I've really done on here is the finishing work. These are the original pickups, the original electronics, everything. It is an 8-string, and I don't know anything about the pickups. They're called Bellcats. Never heard of them, and that's fine. I use this all the time now in my metal acts. Anytime I need a 7 or 8-string tone, I go to this one. It's decent. It is a really decent instrument. It plays really well. If I had to say, again, some just kind of fidgety details, some of the wiring, it's a solderless system, but a couple of the wires were in the wrong place. I simply clipped off the solderless clips and soldered them in the right place, and it worked out fine. It's been fully set up. The neck actually didn't need any work. The fretboard was already in good shape. The frets were already in good shape. There wasn't really a lot to do on it. So I put some strings on it, and you know, it plays great. The finish is actually burnt with a propane torch, so there's some scarring. I wanted that kind of really beaten up, burnt, straight out of hell kind of effect, including on the headstock. Yeah, and same, there's the back of the body, you can see. Now that I've mentioned it, I cannot for the life of me remember what the wood is. I know that the top is a poplar burl, and the finish is done actually with a hand-rubbed oil finish using a polymerizing tung oil as opposed to a polyurethane. So it has a bit of a sheen to it, a bit of a gloss, but it's not overly shiny, and I just really like the feel of the raw wood. So let's plug this into a couple of amps and see what we get. Okay, so let's start off with the clean tone. This is the Corey Wong plugin from Neural DSP. One of my favorite clean tone amps. It's just pristine, absolutely crystal clear. No place to hide if there's anything wrong with your electronics. But as you can hear, it sounds great, right? That low B string just really resonates. If there's one thing to watch out for, it's to remember that you don't need too many winds on your low F sharp string. It's going to be probably too fat of a string to go around very many times. I actually have too many winds on here. That's why it looks like it's kind of bent here. It's just the string is just too thick for a standard guitar tuning peg. I think if I were to redo anything, the first thing I would do is upgrade the tuning machines just to handle a little bit more of the workload from the heavy strings. But you can hear it has a really great tone to it. Is it a decent enough blues instrument? I don't know. I will say the pickups are they're on the warm side, so they're not a very aggressive kind of metal pickup, which is, you know, what you would sort of expect, a little bit more of an aggressive output pickup for an 8-string. It's probably going to be used for metal. Let's jump down to some rhythm tones, just because this is really what we're here for, right? And on this, I am using the Omega Ampworks Granifier blended with the Audio Assault Rev X. I don't know, how do they call this? RVXX. And I'm using their 90s setting for it. I like using the two high gain amps together. Then I can kind of mix and match and blend a little bit. Let's just hear what it sounds like. So there's no noise gate on this at all. That's my low B. So we've got some phasing issues there. I'm going to take out the granifier, and I'm going to go just with the rev. So I believe this is meant to be a rev generator type of amplifier, so it's a metal amp. It's a good sound. Now, I don't use the low F sharp a lot. I've got a bass player in my band, so I don't need that low F sharp string. Where it comes in handy, though, is if you're higher up the neck doing something and you need that fifth down, right, or the fourth down. It gives you that little extra, the extra string that you can go to when you're on your way down. So. Cool, right? Sounds pretty good. I actually like it as a rhythm instrument, but it also has a really nice lead sound to it. So I'm going to go to a pairing of kind of lead amps that I like to use a lot. Oops, just turn them off instead of on. There you go. So I've turned off all of the noise gate on here, just so we can hear everything that the guitar is doing. You'll get a little bit of feedback from it, and that is one thing this instrument does a little bit. It does get some feedback. You have to dial in a little bit, both with your gates and with your gain levels in your mix, just to cut back on that feedback. But everything is there. So with lead tones, it's a little bit challenging because I'm not used to playing a big, wide 8-string neck, but it does what it's supposed to do. Again, sounds pretty damn good. This is not the one that I use for a lot of instrumental work, but it is the one that I use with Trapped in Darkness, and a little bit of tracking that I've done with some other projects, and even a little bit with my instrumental stuff as a rhythm instrument, because it goes lower than my other standard guitars. So that is, in a nutshell, the BexGears 8-string. I'm using this as a prototype model for one of my own scratch builds that will hopefully be out next year, available for order, so inquire if you want to, and we'll see what we can do. So anyway, that's what it sounds like. Decent enough kit. You do need some skill to get around some of the sort of minor woodworking issues. If you'll recall, one of these holes, or a couple of these holes, are just slightly out of alignment as well. This cover was a little bit tight. I had to file some out, and some of the woodworking, or not woodworking, sorry, some of the wiring issues that I mentioned. But other than that, for the price, pretty decent kit if you're looking to practice building and doing some luthiery. and it ends up being a very usable and functional guitar with, I think, a great looking veneer top. It's very thin veneer top, so do be careful when you're finishing it. I ended up with some blistering because it was so thin with the heat. It peeled right off, but I did what I could to make it a feature, and I think I kind of sold the idea a little bit. So again, if you enjoyed this content, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like this video and subscribe, and do consider becoming a member. In my upcoming series for members only, we're going to be looking at ways that you can use some of these extended range instruments later on, going into 2023. So we're starting off with electric guitar basics and moving on to extended instruments and some of the kind of riffy things that you can do with them. So again, if you enjoyed this content, consider becoming a member and you'll get access to some of that exclusive content as well. So that's it for today. Remember to check this out online if you can find one. We're coming up to Christmas. This will make a really great gift for somebody, especially if they're a little bit handy. In the meantime, you guys have yourselves a fantastic day.